morning, everyone. Dutchman Mods and Repairs back. We got another video. What we're going to be working on right now is we're going to be replacing the drive belt. This is a 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Has a 3.6 Pentastar motor in it. And one of the things you're going to want to know before you kind of get into it and replacing the belt, and I'll get the belt out. We'll look at the condition of it and the reason why I'm going to change it. I know there's specific mileage for changing these things out at. Sometimes you can do it, you might need to do it before then. Sometimes you can get a little bit after that, but we'll look at the condition of the belt, some things you need to consider when saying, hey, I do need to change the belt out. We're going to get some things out of the way here. We're going to get this air intake out of the way. On the right hand side over here, you could use a nut driver. I don't know the size off the top of that. I'm just going to use a flathead screwdriver to loosen that up. We'll get this cover off here. You just take the oil filter cover or access cover off, and then we'll get this plastic cover off as well. There'll be another portion of the air intake we'll have to loosen up on the side to get that all out of the way so we can get at the belt. So we're taking this access cover or the cover here off. It's just a matter of getting this oil filter access cover off here, and then this big plastic piece here, just basically there's some, it's like kind of hold it in place. So you just kind of want to gently work it around, lift it up. Okay, when you get that cover off there, you basically have 5 points where that cover sits on. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then within the cover itself you can see a couple points where those pintles kind of push into. There, and then one back in the corner, back down there. Okay, once you get that cover off, you can just move it out of the way. And then what we want to do is we want to get this airbox piece off. We're going to loosen up. We're going to take off this sensor connection here. There's a flat tip connection here that we'll loosen up there. Same down here. As a point of reference, if you're not going to use a flat tip screwdriver to take these off, and you want to use a nut driver, from a 1/4 inch adapter or whatever. I don't know if this is the exact size. What I basically grabbed out of my bag was a 5/16, and it's going to do fine, because those aren't on there super tight. You could use a 5/16 8mm socket, would probably be pretty close to the same fit, although it might be a little bit loose. But again, they're not cranked down there too bad. So what the exact size is doesn't at this point for me doesn't matter. The 5/16 or the 8mm will work just fine. All right, so I already got that kind of pre-loosened up, but it's not really too bad. Just gonna kind of work it off there. Got that loose on that side. Got the sensor undone over there. This is loose here. That loose. And I think we've got one of those little pintle pieces underneath. I'm going to take a look underneath here, because right now it's loose on this side, it's loose over here, but I definitely have something kind of underneath here. So I'm going to take a closer look and see what I've got. Okay, so what I found is you have, let me flip this around here. Underneath there, you've got this little pintle. And again, I don't know what they're called. I'm just calling it a pintle. And it just snugs down in there. So once you get the right-hand side hose clamp loosened up, left side hose clamp loosened up with the sensor disconnected, you just have to lift up a little bit in the middle there to get that pintle out of that little spot right there. And that is out of the way. All right, so now that we've got the covers off, out of the way, we can get in here. One of the things that I had already done is determined what belt I needed, and there's a separate quick video on how to check for that on our YouTube channel. I have the traditional power steering pump on this Pentastar motor, and so I had to get I went with a Continental belt 4060763. That's what I'm going to put on here. If you were to get the wrong belt, you'd either be short or long, depending upon whether you have the regular power steering pump or if you have the electric power steering system on your vehicle. So what we're going to do now is we need to use the idler or the idler tension assembly right here to loosen up the belt. And right off the bat, there are tools for this, but typically you can get a 3/8 drive in there, and then you're gonna pivot or turn towards the passenger side to release the tension off this belt to put the new one on, and you kind of fish it out. It might be a good idea if you're not familiar with the path to go ahead and take a picture. And I'm gonna rest right here just for a second so that if by chance you don't, you can always reference this to see the belt path. Because man, on some of these cars, this actually is easy, and on others you can, gosh, you got all kinds of stuff. It's like a roller coaster looking thing. So let me get the tool out. We'll get this belt loosened up and show you that. All right, so what I did is I actually got my 3/8 drive in there with an extension to kind of get it out here in the middle, so I'm not having to, you know, bump up any of these hoses or stuff up above. But as you can see, when I turn towards the passenger side, that belt loosens up. Okay, so I'm going to put the phone down because I'm going to need 2 hands, one to loosen and then the other to kind of just get my fingers in there, and once I get the belt off of the alternator, I can let that idler arm up a little bit to kind of fish it out from all the rest of this stuff. And just as a reference, I have, you know, my hands aren't on there. You can see where that idler pulley just kind of comes back to, oh, about 12 o'clock, and we'll just feed the rest of the belt off. All right, so we got the belt out. Not too bad a condition. Got some cracks here, some of them pretty deep, but I'm not gonna play around with it. We're gonna go ahead and get this new Continental in there. Have a nice fresh belt. All right, it'll take a little bit of finagling to get the new belt in there because it's not going to be, you know, in the same shape. It's going to come in whatever they have in the package. But you can see how I've got everything run, ready to go. And you can see that I'm going to over on this side here. And we'll, again, going to take the tensioner pulley. We'll rotate that towards the passenger side and get this side of the belt on there. And when you're doing this, go ahead and run your fingers around even once it's tightened up, but even beforehand you get to this point here, make sure that all the grooves in the belt match up with each one of the pulleys where you have grooves. You don't do that, you run the risk of that belt running up on the side of, it may not, but you still run the risk of shredding the belt if you get it really, really bad. Let's just do the idler pulley tensioner and get the belt all the way on. All right, once you get it on, go ahead and make sure that belt is everywhere it's supposed to be, running the way it's supposed to be. Nothing's off track, nothing looks funny. And that's all there is to it. Good to go for, heck, probably as long as I'll drive the vehicle or someone else gets it. All right, so after you get the belt on, it's basically just the reverse order of getting all the air intake stuff and covers on. Make sure everything pops in place, don't leave it loose. You don't want this rattling around in here giving you a funny noise that freaks you out on a road trip. Don't forget your electrical connection over there, and get it all snugged down and popped in place. So there's how to replace the belt. Any questions or comments, leave those down below. I appreciate you watching the video. Have a good day.